2023 is right around the corner, and with it are some absolutely insane sneaker releases. What's up, everybody? I'm Seth Fowler, and today I'm counting down the top 20 most anticipated sneaker releases of 2023. So I've compiled a list of leaks, rumors, and confirmed information to create this top 20 list of the sneakers that I think are the top 20 most anticipated sneaker releases of next year. And obviously, because this list is made up of things like leaks, there's no way to really know for sure if these shoes will actually look the way that they look in these images or whether these shoes will actually release. In fact, I'm sure some of these shoes might just not end up releasing at all. But either way, this is a list that I love making every single year because it allows us to look forward into the upcoming year and see possibly what could be the sneakers of the year. But before we dive into the list, if you have not yet entered my 1 million subscriber giveaway, make sure to do so by clicking the link in the description below. This giveaway is actually for two pretty awesome prizes. We've got the MANIERE Air Jordan 4s and also a brand new PlayStation 5. So if you want to enter the giveaway, make sure to click the link in the top of the description below, and the giveaway ends right before Christmas. And of course, thank you all so much for the support and getting me to 1 million subscribers. It's a milestone that I never thought I'd get to, and I can't thank you guys enough. But with all that being said, let's dive. Hey, heard you guys are looking for some chicken and W's. Well, the good news is we've actually collaborated with Roscoe to create a full collection of chicken and W socks. I'm out of breath. These socks come in 3 different colorways, a blue and gray, an orange and cream, and a green and cream, and they're all absolutely fire and will all give you the chicken and W's that you require. So make sure to check out Roscoe's Chicken and W's Apothecary collaboration and get your chicken and dubs right away. That being said, let's dive right into the list. Number 20, the Air Jordan 1 Lucky Green. So as a lot of you guys know, I'm not really a Celtics fan. In fact, I would say that the Celtics are probably my least favorite basketball team because obviously I'm a Sixers fan and the Celtics and Sixers don't really seem to get along. But regardless, I think this is a really clean looking sneaker. Essentially what this Lucky Green Air Jordan 1 is a black toe Air Jordan 1 replacing the red for a sort of nice emerald green. So the color blocking of this shoe actually reminds me a lot of the Air Jordan 1 Pine Greens from 2018, a shoe which I did own but then eventually got rid of because I never really wore it. I really love the way this sneaker looks. I don't love the association to the Celtics, but I do like the way the sneaker looks and I like that shade of green, but I just don't really see myself wearing this shoe. However, that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be on the list because I think it is a very clean Air Jordan 1 colorway. So if you're looking to grab a pair of the Air Jordan 1 Lucky Greens, they are slated to release on April 15th of 2023. Number 19, the Air Jordan 13 Playoffs. So as a lot of you guys know, this shoe was originally introduced 24 years ago back in the 1998 All-Star Game, and it seems like Jordan Brand is honoring that original introduction of the shoe by re-releasing this shoe during the All-Star Game in 2023. The shoe comes in an entirely black tumble leather upper accented by white hits on the midsole and a red outsole, and it's really just one of those Air Jordan 13 models that are not only incredibly wearable, but they're also iconic. Like, this is one of those 13s that you think of when you think of Air Jordan 13s. And like I mentioned, this shoe is supposed to release sometime around All-Star Weekend of next year, and the tentative date right now is February 18th. Next up at number 18 is the Adidas Ultra Boost 2023. So since its initial release back in 2015, the Adidas Ultra Boost has been one of my favorite sneaker silhouettes. However, over the last couple years, when Adidas has positioned it more as a performance running sneaker, which I guess it always was positioned as, but they kind of moved away from the lifestyle side of things, it's kind of taken a turn that I'm not really a huge fan of. And unfortunately, in 2023, it seems like Adidas is making this shoe even less wearable than it was in previous years because they've made the back of this shoe look it almost looks like it's got a hoof on the back of the shoe. It's ridiculous and I think it looks insane, but at the same time, there's so much boost in this shoe that I really want to try it because I'm sure it's going to be incredibly comfortable underfoot. So although the back of the shoe looks ridiculous, the side of the shoe looks like a standard pair of Adidas Ultra Boost 22s, which I guess is a good thing, but I just feel like they've kind of ruined the aesthetic of this sneaker with that heel area. Hopefully it doesn't actually look like this when it releases. Regardless, this shoe looks like a beast when it comes to performance running, especially if you love max cushion sneakers because the cushion on this shoe
is max.
So if you're looking to try out a pair of the Adidas Ultra Boost 2023s, unfortunately there is no release date for these wild looking sneakers just yet, so make sure to stay tuned to the channel because I will let you know as soon as I know. Number 17, the Concepts Nike SB Dunk Low White Lobster. So as the name of this shoe would suggest, the colorway of this sneaker is inspired by a white lobster, which sort of has this pearlescent exterior shell. And because of that, in addition to the white suede upper of the shoe, this sneaker also features pearlescent details throughout. Now I'll be real with you guys, it's not the most exciting Concepts Nike SB Dunk Low. In fact, I think it's probably one of the worst in my opinion. This one just looks like a pretty GR white Nike Dunk Low, and especially with dunks being as widely available as they are now, I don't know if the hype is going to be there as much for this shoe as it was for previous Concepts Nike Nike Dunks. That said though, this all-white colorway is probably one of their most wearable versions of the shoe, so if that's what you're looking for from your Concepts Nike SB Dunk lows, then this is a great shoe to go with. And if you're looking to grab a pair of the White Lobsters, unfortunately there is no release date for these sneakers just yet. Number 16, the Nike Kobe 8 Protro. 2023, we're finally getting the Nike Kobe 8 Protro, which I'm incredibly excited for because the Kobe 8 is my second favorite Kobe silhouette. Now, unfortunately, all we really know about this upcoming Kobe silhouette is that it is coming. But hey, I'm stoked about this silhouette, and if I ever play basketball in 2023, which there's like a 50-50 shot that I will or won't, this would be the shoe that I'd love to play in. Number 15, the Air Jordan 4 Red Cement. So over 2022, we saw the Air Jordan 4 become one of the most popular sneakers available on the market, and Jordan Brand has taken notice and is pumping out a bunch of really great Air Jordan 4 colorways. Now I'll be honest, when it comes to Air Jordan 4s, I definitely prefer OG colorways. However, I don't mind when Jordan Brand takes one of those colorways and gives it a slight twist. Like the original cements, these shoes feature black speckle print on the cement details, which I do think adds a little extra interest to the sneaker, which is always a good thing. And I know these are just renderings of the shoe, but based on these renderings or based on these maybe photoshopped images, it looks like this shoe will feature white tumbled leather. And again, I know these are just renderings, but the white tumbled leather does look good on this sneaker. I mean, yeah, overall nothing crazy, nothing too out there, but in my opinion, just a solid new Air Jordan 4 colorway. And as far as release for the red cements, it looks like these shoes are dropping on August 12th. Coming in at number 14 is the Air Jordan 3 Wizards. So this colorway is based on a very obscure Air Jordan 3 PE that Michael Jordan wore back in 2001 when he played for the Washington Wizards. The shoe itself comes in a primarily white tumbled leather upper accented by elephant print on the toe, on the heel, as well as in the midfoot of the sneaker, and in addition to that, you've got some wizard color details like blue and gold found throughout the sneaker. So if you're looking forward to this colorway like I am, unfortunately we do have a while to wait because these shoes are slated to release on August 29th. Number 13 is the Air Jordan 4 Lightning. Originally released back in 2006, the Air Jordan 4 Lightning is a colorway that in my opinion hasn't restocked enough, but in 2023 it looks like we're finally getting the Thunders back, and I'm really happy about it. So the shoe itself comes in a black nubuck upper accented by bright yellow details, and for a shoe that only features 2 different colors, it's surprisingly clean. And if you're looking to cop a pair of the Thunder 4s, they are supposed to release on May 13th. At number 12 is the Adidas Yeezy 700 V4. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to call this shoe now because Kanye isn't with Adidas anymore, so this shoe, if it does release as an Adidas sneaker, it's not going to be called a Yeezy, it's going to be called something else. But until Adidas decides to rename this silhouette, we're going to call it the 700 V4, and interestingly enough, it looks very much like the 700 V3, except instead of having a multi-material upper, it features what seems to be a rubber upper. Or I guess maybe some sort of foam, like it looks a lot like the foam runners without any holes through the side. It is interesting to see what Adidas does with the brand and with this upcoming silhouette. So that's what I'm looking forward to most, to see what they do with it and whether people still buy Yeezy design sneakers without Yeezy's name being attached. I feel like that's going to be one of the biggest stories of 2023. So I'm looking forward to this shoe because of that, not so much because of the sneaker itself, because as far as the sneaker itself, it's not that exciting. There is no release date for this 700 V4 yet, but of course make sure to stay locked on the channel because I'll let you guys know about all of the Yeezy Adidas information as soon as I know. Coming in at number 11 is the Air Jordan 11 Columbia. So I kind of have a bad taste in my mouth about the Air Jordan 11 Columbias, and that's because back in 2014 when these shoes released on Nike's website, bots weren't as prevalent, or I guess they were as prevalent, but you still had a chance to grab shoes, and unfortunately out of all the releases that year that I wanted, this was the only one that I was really locked in on, and it was the only one that I couldn't get. And back then, when sneakers weren't my job, I couldn't justify paying resale for shoes, so I had to let this shoe go. And ever since then, I've always looked at the Columbias and been like, nah, I don't need you.
I want you, but I don't need you that much.
I love the all-white leather accented by the black sock liner and the icy outsoles. It's just not a shoe that I see myself buying because I just don't want to relive the pain. But all that aside, I think this shoe is going to be the holiday Air Jordan 11 release of 2023, and it's nice to see a more classic Air Jordan 11 colorway come back. Now, as far as release date, there is no actual date set in stone yet, but like I said, most likely this shoe will be the holiday release of next year. So because of that, expect this shoe to drop sometime around the beginning of December 2023. Coming in at number 10 is the Air Jordan 8 Playoffs. So originally released back in 1993 as an OG Air Jordan 8 colorway, the Playoff 8s are one of the most iconic Air Jordan colorways of all time. So this shoe hit icon status when Michael Jordan wore it in the 1993 finals against the Phoenix Suns and beat them in Game 6 to seal his three-peat. So the shoe itself comes in primarily black, mostly made up of a black nubuck upper, accented by reds, blues, and whites. And as far as Air Jordan 8s, this is probably one of the most popular and best received colorways ever. I think the aquas might be a little bit more popular for some people like myself. I think I prefer the aquas, but the playoffs are also very, very clean. And when it comes to the $20 sneaker collection where I'm trying to build this giant clock of all the original Air Jordan colorways, if I can grab this shoe for retail, I don't know exactly when it releases. The shoe is supposed to release on September 2nd, so the video series will probably be done by then. But if I can grab this shoe for that clock, that would be sick. If not, I'll go with the aquas and I'll be just fine. Number 9, the Adidas Yeezy 350 Pirate Black. So just like with the 700 V4s, the release of this shoe is kind of in limbo. We don't know whether this shoe is releasing because Kanye is no longer with Adidas. Now, like I said earlier, they are releasing a lot of Kanye's original designs as Adidas sneakers, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see more 350s release. But from what I can tell, they've already produced hundreds of thousands of these pairs, and I'm sure they all say Yeezy on both the insole, the outsole, and also on the box itself. Especially because on the suede midfoot panel of the Yeezy 350s, Yeezy is literally embossed into the material, which is very difficult to remove, if not impossible. So it would be interesting to see whether they release these shoes with the Yeezy branding, which I'm not sure if they're allowed to do, or whether they scrap them completely, or whether they just change the boxes. Who knows what's going to happen with these shoes. No matter what you think about Kanye, if you separate the art from the artist, you can still appreciate Yeezy sneakers, even if you don't agree with what Kanye has said and done. So while I'm not as stoked on this release as I was a couple months back, it's still a shoe that I have fond memories of because it was the first pair of Yeezys I ever bought. It was like one of the first reviews I ever did on the channel, and it's a shoe that if I can grab it for retail, I might try and grab. It'll be really interesting to see when this shoe releases, if the shoe releases, and what they're gonna do to make it a non-Yeezy, especially because it seems like the shoe is already produced. So very interested to see how that all turns out. And again, I'll keep you guys posted as soon as I know. Number 8, the Air Jordan 1 Low Black Toe. So over the last couple years, Jordan Brand has really been pushing the Air Jordan 1 Low silhouette. The Air Jordan 1 Highs are my favorite sneaker of all time, and I still really think the Air Jordan 1 Low is a great shoe that in a lot of ways is underrated. So as you can tell from the name of this shoe is a low top version of the classic Air Jordan 1 Black Toes, a shoe which features a black mudguard, black eye stays, and red accents on the heel. Really, this might be one of my most anticipated sneakers of the year, which is crazy to say for a shoe that's probably going to be a GR, and honestly, probably not going to be one of the most popular shoes of the year, but I can see myself rocking this shoe all the time. Now obviously, because these images are just mock-ups, it's possible that the shoe looks nothing like this and it's just called a black toe, but it's not really a black toe. And the good news is this shoe is supposed to release sometime in summertime 2023, which makes sense because it's a low top Air Jordan 1, which is perfect for rocking with shorts. Number 7, the Union LA Air Jordan 1 KO Low. Is it just me, or is there like not any Air Jordan 1 KO lows? There probably is. I can't think of any. Now obviously, Union LA has been one of the most prolific Jordan Brand collaborators over the last couple years, and a lot of their collaborations have been absolutely fire. First Union LA Jordan Brand collabs were on the Air Jordan 1s, and those are considered to be some of the best Jordan Brand collaborations of all time. And in fact, the Storm Blue colorway I actually proposed to my wife in. I love the shoe that much. But I feel like the last couple collaborations that Union LA has had with Jordan Brand just haven't been as great as those original Air Jordan 1s. Now to be fair, the Air Jordan 1 KO is not as popular or as well loved as the standard Air Jordan 1, but I think that there is a lot of potential here, and I'm excited to see what this shoe actually looks like. Now obviously, on the screen you guys are looking at renderings of what the shoe could look like. I'm not sure exactly if they're based off rumored colorways or maybe there's leaked like SKU information, I don't know. Unfortunately, there's barely any information out there about this shoe other than this rendering and that the shoe is in the works, so we don't know when the shoe is releasing or what it's going to look like, but I really wouldn't be surprised if this shoe ends up releasing sometime in 2023. Number 6 is the Air Jordan 1 University Blue. So right off the bat, I'm sure you noticed that this shoe looks a lot like the Obsidian 1s. The only real difference that I can tell between this rendering and the Obsidian 1s, other than the shade of blue, is the fact that this shoe has a blue toe versus a cream colored toe. I'm holding up hope that this shoe does look like this. I don't know why Jordan Brand hasn't just hired someone like Z Sneakerhead Z yet. I know that their designers are absolutely capable of doing this, and I know it's not the designer's fault. I just feel like Jordan Brand just loves being withholding, and that's what happens every single year. But the good news is we don't have much longer to wait to find out whether this shoe is actually going to look like this, because the shoe is supposed to release on July 8th of 2023, which means we'll start seeing official images probably around March. Number 5, the women's Travis Scott Air Jordan 1 Low Olive. So even though rumors were swirling this year that Travis Scott was no longer going to collaborate on any other Air Jordan 1s, it seems like those rumors either weren't true or are after this release happens. Interestingly enough, unlike a lot of the previous Travis Scott collaborations with Jordan Brand, this shoe is a women's only exclusive, which means dudes with larger feet like size 13s are probably not going to be able to grab a pair of these. As far as color blocking goes on this sneaker, it's pretty reminiscent of the reverse mochas. You've got a dark color on the upper of the shoe, in this case it's a black nubuck, accented by a white or cream colored leather overlay, as well as a backwards olive colored Nike swoosh. As we've come to expect from Travis Scott Air Jordan collaborations, it looks like this shoe comes with a couple different lace options. Based on these images, it looks like you get both a green and a red, but as far as the actual release of the olive colorway, this shoe is slated to drop on March 25th, 2023. And believe me, if this shoe is the last Travis Scott Air Jordan 1, the hype is going to be real on this shoe. Coming in at number 4 is the Action Bronson New Balance 990 V6. So if you guys know me, I'm a huge New Balance fan. I say that every time I talk about New Balance, so by now you should know that about me. But the 990 V6 is New Balance's latest 990 sneaker, and honestly, it's my favorite out of all of the 990s. It looks great, it's comfortable, and it's just one of the easiest shoes to wear. And the good news is for New Balance fans, they're taking one of their latest and best silhouettes, the 990 V6, and allowing people like Action Bronson to collaborate on it. Now, Action Bronson is one of the most interesting people out there. He's not only an incredible rapper, but he has a great TV show, he's got a decent design sense, and now he's a wrestler. He does everything, it's crazy. And not only that, he's also worked with multiple sneaker brands. First it was with Adidas, which is where I took this picture, and now it's with New Balance, which is really exciting for me as a huge New Balance fan. So this shoe comes in a pretty eclectic colorway. You've got bright neon greens accented by browns and bright blues, and overall it takes the 990 V6 silhouette and really turns it into something completely different than what you usually get with the standard gray colorway. And one of my favorite details on the shoe isn't even the color blocking of the sneaker, it's the fact that they changed out the New Balance branding on the tongue to the baklava branding, which I think is awesome. As far as this particular collaboration though, there is no release date yet, but I'm sure it's gonna happen sometime next year. Probably, hopefully. Coming in at number 3 are any of the upcoming Off-White Nike collaborations. So a couple days ago, we had the 1-year anniversary of the passing of Virgil Abloh, one of the most influential sneaker designers, in my opinion, of all time. And over the last year, the future of Off-White and their collaborations with Nike have really been up in the air because no one really knows how many shoes he worked on, whether they're gonna keep producing shoes with Nike after his passing, or really what the status of the collaboration was. But based on a recent interview with Virgil's wife, Shannon Abloh, she actually came out and said that there's more than a year's worth of releases in the pipeline. Now, unfortunately, we don't know what those releases will be. She was wearing the Off-White Bred 4s in the interview, so it's possible that that is one of the releases, and I'm hoping that's one of the releases because that shoe is absolutely fire. But honestly, I'm most excited about the fact that Virgil's legacy will continue on by releasing some of his work that we wouldn't have been able to see otherwise. Obviously, because we're talking about the entire collaboration as a whole and not one sneaker in particular, there's really no release date that we know of for any of these shoes or even what shoe will be next, but hopefully in 2023 we'll get a brand new Off-White collaboration, which I'm very excited about, and again, I think it's a great way of preserving his legacy. Number 2, the Air Jordan 1 High 85 Black and White. Man, I am stoked for this release. I mean, obviously it's number 2 on the list, so I'm excited about it, but I am stoked for this release. So the Air Jordan 1 is my favorite silhouette of all time. So the fact that Jordan Brand has released a version of the shoe that's meant to look and feel exactly like the original release of the shoe, for me, is like the best thing ever. I'm so stoked on it. And I guess Jordan Brand is trying to preserve the exclusivity of this model, and because of that, they've only released like 4 or 5 different colorways of the 85 versions of the Air Jordan 1s, but it seems like in 2023, they're bringing back a very popular but somewhat underrated colorway with the black and white Air Jordan 1s. This is probably one of the simplest and cleanest Air Jordan 1s ever made. I mean, it's literally a black and white Air Jordan 1, and while yes, the Breds are my favorite Air Jordan 1s, these are really up there and probably are even easier to wear because you can wear them with any color. Now, interestingly enough, even though the release of these shoes is still about 2 or 3 months out, they're supposed to drop on February 15th, we do actually have official images of this shoe, which means this is exactly what the shoes will look like when they release. And for whatever reason, the leather that they use on the 85s is just a little bit nicer than the standard Air Jordan 1s, and it actually gets even better the more that you wear it. Like the creasing on this particular kind of leather just looks really good, it softens up. It's just one of those shoes that the more you wear it, the better it gets, and in this black and white colorway, it's just like the perfect version of this shoe. I love it. I don't have enough good things to say about it. I think it's an incredible sneaker, and I cannot wait for February 15th. Finally, coming in at number 1 is the Air Jordan 3 White Cement Reimagined. So like the Air Jordan 1 85s, the Air Jordan 3 Reimagines are a new take on the Air Jordan 3 that makes them look exactly like the original Air Jordan 3s from back in the 1980s. With the Air Jordan 3 Reimagined, they're trying to replicate the cut of the original shoe, the original shape of the midsole, and every little detail that made the original Air Jordan 3 as iconic as it was. If you guys didn't know, the Air Jordan 3 is the shoe that kept Michael Jordan with Jordan Brand, or at the time Nike. After the Air Jordan 2, he's like, nah, I'm out. But thank God for Tinker Hatfield and the Air Jordan 3, because that shoe convinced Michael to stay with Nike, and now we have one of the most iconic brands of all time. So as you can tell, the first version of the Air Jordan 3 Reimagined is coming in one of the original colorways of the Air Jordan 3s, the white cement colorway, which features a white tumbled leather upper and gray and black elephant print on the heel and on the toe. Now, for whatever reason, it seems like Jordan Brand has decided to make the midsole of this shoe sort of an aged cream color, which, while personally I like the way that looks on the shoe, I wish they would just give us the standard version of the shoe because, you know, the Air Jordan 3 white cement hasn't retroed in like, I don't know, over a decade at this point. So it'd be nice to have an original version of the shoe that actually looks like the original version of the shoe. But hey, if the cream colored midsole is the biggest gripe that I have, it's not a big deal. I actually like the way that the midsole looks, like I said, and I'm just stoked to finally have a pair of white cement 3s that I can grab for retail. I haven't grabbed one for retail ever. I had the free throw lines, but I paid resale for those, and then I had the white cements, but I paid resale for those too. So no, this is the first chance I have to grab a pair of these for retail. So surprisingly, the release date of this shoe is closer than I think anyone would have guessed. Apparently the release date for this sneaker is March 11th, which means that we're getting this shoe in like 3 months, and I'm so stoked. And I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on this because they're like, oh, you can't make a shoe that's been retroed a million times sneaker of the year. In my opinion, this shoe is the #1 contender for sneaker of the year for 2023. Until something even crazier comes out, this shoe is it for me, and I'm definitely grabbing probably 2 or 3 pairs of these. But with that, we pretty much wrap up the entire list for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to enter the MANIERE 4 and PlayStation 5 giveaway through that link in the top of the description below. Let me know your thoughts on this list in the comment section down below, and I will see you all in the next one.